you're listening, I hope you have long today. And 95 Nigga Black. People say they've been missing Cowboy preaching, gambling.
Well, y'all, we getting ready for the open line. We got to have an open mind. As Brother G continue to get y'all prepared for the open line. Here's Miss Tally Rogers with Try Jesus. Good Lord. Over there. Ready? All right.
The Open Line Radio Show is supported in part by Finders Keepers Home Improvement Store, the place with your residential hardware needs, small engines, outdoor power equipment, bathroom accessories, electronics, lighting, plumbing, and everything in between. Located in the Southern Development Office Building at 1006 Surrey Street, Lafayette. Telephone 3377808149. That's Finders Keepers Home Improvement.
Now tuned into my man, Brother Jay, and our conscious sister, bringing the people the knowledge on the Open Line Radio Show on 88.3 FM, your superstation for South Louisiana. 88.
We want to remind you that the Open Line Radio Show is powered by Finders Keepers, 1006 Surrey Street, Lafayette. The Open Line Radio Show is heard exclusively from 9 to 11 a.m. every Wednesday on your community superstation for South Louisiana, KIEE 88.3.
KIEE, the Louisiana Superstation, presents the community's #1 radio talk show, The Open Line. If you have an open mind.
Welcome to the Open Line on KIEE 88.3, your superstation. The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers and are not necessarily those of KIEE 88.3 staff or management. Thanks for listening. Welcome to another edition of the Open Line Radio Show on KIEE 88.3 FM, your community superstation. We want to thank the staff and management of Southern Development, Mr. John Freeman, and Mr. Charles. I'm going to say it like that since we don't like to say Mr. Charlie. Welcome, Cowboy Preacher. Thank you so much for always putting me on, man.
Thank you, sir.
So we got our other co-hosts, attorneys, and we could declare that we're going to take over Sister Khadijah slot. She's being shortly. Welcome, Attorney Smith, onto the Open Line in the Ask a Lawyer segment.
Good morning. I just need to learn how to work the phone. We might not need Sister Khadijah. I'm just playing. I know you're on the way and listening.
Yeah, man, because, you know, them taskmasters, you know how they are when you don't do the right thing. So what's going on, Attorney Dwight? Since you last been here, you were on the phone last week. Tell us what's up in the legal world. We have a lot of stuff on the national scene, but I know you got some stuff for us this morning.
Sure. So, Attorney Dwazindra Smith, as usual, if you need to get in contact with me, my number is 337-534-4020. Once again, 337-534-4020. Any information obtained here today is strictly informational. No attorney-client relationship or privilege has formed. All right. So, I don't know if y'all recall the bill that was on the ballot during the last voting cycle regarding the slavery ban. So apparently that has been brought back. It has been amended, and it has now cleared the House with a vote of 98-0 because there were some amendments to it.
Yeah, it was a lot of controversy over whether or not it was something that should be much more important than other things. And the issue, when they mean wording, it's in the bill, the wording, how it is applied in legal surroundings, you know.
Right.
Meaning that if a person is convicted of a crime and serves in one of the facilities, local or state level, they can be pushed to do some hard labor or something. Is that connected to hard labor?
Right. So that's specifically what it's talking about. Let's see, because this is the proposed language that was changed. The prohibition of involuntary servitude shall not prohibit an inmate from being required to work when the inmate has been duly convicted of a crime. And before that, the problem was that it had the word except in the same sentence as slavery is prohibited. So that's what a lot of people had an issue with.
Yeah, there's certainly some activists. We had on this show Mr. Curtis Davis of the organization out of Shreveport and a couple of other groups in New Orleans. They were concerned about it, and there was even some criticism of the legislative body. Again, I would urge people as a radio person, a facilitator of talk, to go and get involved, find out what laws are being put or being advanced in the Louisiana State Legislature. The last time we talked, I keep railing on this same subject matter. 800 new bills, according to the Advocate, a couple of weeks ago, that they were talking about that the legislative body was trying to advance. Now the question is, do we need all these laws on the book? And does the general population or the citizens know that they're advancing laws? There's no information on whether or not these laws, that's laws that we are acceptable to us. You wake up on a Monday morning, July 1st or whatever the laws kick in, boom, you got a new law,
Exactly. So that's exactly the problem, is that we need to know what's going on and the ramifications of these different laws.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of criminal justice laws, and you being an attorney, again, I would urge people to keep abreast of the new laws. And ignorance of the law is no excuse. They say that all the time.
No, it is not.
You ever heard? I like that. You ever heard that in the courtroom? Say, well, I didn't know. You ever heard?
They say that all the time, and judges like, well, it's a law in the book.
The law in the book. Okay. And still, anything you have heard on different laws changing as it relates to child support. So Sister Khadijah's not here right now, but she'll be in shortly, hopefully. And we had mentioned something about the way they use the laws, or the way the law is interpreted, that men are more than likely to bear the brunt of these child support laws, and that's a perception. I know attorneys probably say, no, that's a perception, but the average layperson might perceive it as something against men more so.
Right. Well, there's nothing new that I've heard of lately, but as far as child support and the proportionality of it, it does seem like it's a majority towards the men. Right. But the reason is because a majority of the women have custody of the children. So the child support goes to who has custody of the children. So that's why. So if you have a situation where the father has custody, then the mother definitely can be on the hook for child support.
Okay. Then again, times have changed, and there's more women in the workplace. And I'm gonna say in our community, I know I'm gonna emphasize the black community, that there's less job opportunities, according to the statistics, in the state of Louisiana for black males, and we don't know if that's something that caused by a person itself, or it's just the opportunities, whether it's going to school or whether it's getting a adequate job that can actually put some economic value on the plates, of all the people that we serve.
Exactly. And I'm also seeing where courts are moving away from that old time, the mother has to be the custodian. They're moving away from that. A lot of times now, it's really not as hard as it used to be to get shared custody, which is 50-50 custody.
Right. And when a person goes for a custody hearing, what factors determine who might get custody of said child or children?
So they have something that's in the Civil Code. It's called the best interest factors. And those are factors that the court looks at to determine who they feel that the child should be with, who should be the domiciliary parents. So those are things like the relationship that they nurture with other people, how they raise the child, like mental, spiritual, all of those different things. There's a whole listing of those factors. So the court looks at different things. So it's not just the court on its own whim saying, well, you look like you'll be the better parent. No, we actually have laws in place for the court to look at these factors and to make that determination.
Well, what's the most determining factor? Education, economics, or well-being?
Well, one really doesn't outweigh the other. They just look at all of them and say, okay, so based on this weighs in the mother's favor, this weighs in the father's favor. Based on all of this, I feel like this is who the child should be with. And then also the child, they have something that's called a Watermeyer hearing, and that's when you're having a trial where you can have the child come in and testify. Now, of course, it's going to be out of the presence of the parents, so it'll be the judge and attorneys with the child, and the child giving their preference. But that's just one of the factors.
And I'm just asking the questions. You know, again, things have changed since the years I've been through some situations like everybody else. Is child custody an expensive situation for one to undertake, for as far as paying fees to attorney, or you have groups? I know we have a place here, Acadiana Legal Services. I don't know if they handle those cases.
Yeah, but Acadiana Legal Services, you have to qualify for that. So you have to be a certain percentage under the what do they call it? The poverty level. So everybody cannot go to Acadiana Legal Services. If you're working offshore, you're not going to qualify for Acadiana Legal Services. Right. But as far as the fees to an attorney, it definitely can get expensive. Because what happens here in Lafayette Parish, if somebody files for custody, you have what's called a hearing officer conference.
Right.
So that's one step. So that's where you'll have the hearing officer, the parties' attorneys, and the hearing officer will make what's called recommendations. So based off of what the hearing officer heard, the hearing officer makes recommendations as to what he or she feels should happen. If somebody objects to that, then it goes before the judge, and there will be what's called a rule date. And on that rule date, especially in Lafayette Parish, because there's so many cases that are on the docket is so backed up, that's a time where the parties are trying to work something out. If something can't be worked out, then it'll be set for a trial on the merits, where the parties will have their specific day and time in court to have a trial on the matter. And of course, there's pros and cons as to having a trial as well. And then if somebody does not like what the judge ruled, of course, you can appeal it. So all of that is costly.
Yes. So, and see, I'm going all over the place to get to.
No, but these are good questions because people don't understand this process.
And let me ask you something. As far as a person going into court and they look at the individuals who they are part of the court system, that they have to, be in standing in, those people will be standing in judgment of. A hearing officer, what exactly, and we hear that all the time, and it's good to learn these terms. Not everybody want to be a lawyer, but people want to know. What is a hearing officer job, and what is the hearing officer an advocate for or against? So I personally love the hearing officer process and our hearing officers in the 15th, the 16th. I like that process. It's in the law. I think it's Title 4 or Title 5 that creates it. So basically, it's a middle level. I look at it as a mediator. So hearing officers do different things. So if you ever have to go to court for a protective order, there will be a hearing officer that's the first person that hears the case. And if there's an objection to a protective order, then it goes to the judge. But the hearing officer basically is the step before you get to the judge. And I like the process because a lot of the cases can be resolved before you have to go to the judge and spend even more money. So that's what a hearing officer is. And it's a hearing officer, office of the court, meaning they are an attorney or they are a paralegal? Or? No. So to me, they're judges. And I hope I don't offend any, but I look at them as what I call like baby judges. They can make because although they're not elected, right, they still have decision-making power and all of that. They attend all of the conferences that the judges attend. They have robes. All of that. Well, so, and that's what I'm asking. They're definitely an officer of the court, but they're not an attorney because they're not advocating for either side. They're hearing the cases. Okay, and mostly what they train, what are they? I mean, their training is in paralegal or some type of. So hearing officers were attorneys. Make sense? So it's basically a job that they apply for that the judges get together and decide who's going to be the hearing officer. So the hearing officers report to the judges. So
whether or not they were a paralegal, maybe before an attorney. I'm not sure, but that's not a requirement. They were an attorney.
But what
Like
if-
they have borrow numbers, just like judges have borrow numbers. They were attorneys at one point.
Well, what jurisdiction they fall on? District Attorney Office, the Family Services, or the court system?
No,
It
so
depends.
so I think it would be under the court because again they report directly to the judges.
Okay. Wow.
So like here in the 15 JDC, it's tri-parish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Lafayette Parish, Acadia Parish, right?
Yeah. Wow. That's what I say. People, pay attention, educate yourself before you go up in that courtroom or even dealing with your own attorney. You have to know what you're doing once you get into this legal system here in America. Now, you know, when Sister Khadijah come back, there's a national issue again concerning, she had brought that up to you. I don't know if you want to go there. Donald Trump is the person who sued him, the lady who sued him, woman who sued him, is amending another petition saying that because of what he said on the CNN town hall meeting about her again, he want to add to that defamation. Yeah. So what is defamation exactly? Again, for a refresher course over here at 88.3.
Sure. So defamation is basically you saying that somebody is not telling the truth about you. It's an attack on your character. So you have defamation and then you have libel. One is somebody speaking it and then the other one is somebody writing it.
Right.
So if somebody speaks like he's speaking on CNN, that's defamation. If somebody's writing something crazy on Facebook, that's libel.
And that would hurt that person. The pleading is that would hurt me so much in economics and also my character that okay. So what is libel and slander? You want to add that, you know?
Oh yeah. So all of that is essentially the same thing. It's just written, verbal. But as far as the damages are concerned, like we talked about before, it just depends on who you are. If you're talking about Joe Blow that works at the 7-Eleven, what damages do you have?
Right.
You know, versus a senator or
Well,
something like that, somebody that's in the public eye.
It could hurt my earning power at McDonald's.
At the 7-Eleven? I don't think so. We have a caller?
Do we have a caller? Yes. Hold on for a second, caller. Okay. Just hold on for a second.
Yeah, so the person that's working at the 7-Eleven, I don't think that, and I could be wrong, but of course you have to prove this, but you have to prove your damages and that it's damages to your reputation and that it's causing you some kind of financial or other type of harm. So at this point in time, with her being in the spotlight, I mean, that could be some kind of harm to her. So that's the difference. I mean, anybody can file a defamation, slander, libel claim, but the real question is whether or not you're going to be successful and what your damages are.
Okay,
Caller?
You could go ahead, and I apologize for that. We were just setting up. And we want to get you a clear line into the broadcast. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, this pertains to one of my brothers. He's been sick and falling down, and he fell a week ago over his head, and we call an ambulance for him, but he refuses to get medical attention. And they tell us that we can't make him get into the ambulance because he's got his right mind and whatever. But we're trying to find out what avenue to go on to get him some medical attention before it really, really gets serious, you know.
So it sounds like in that situation, if he's falling and doing all of that, they have a process that's called where you try to get somebody incapacitated, and that's something that you would go through the court to try to say that, you know, they're not in their right mind or they need some help. Right, some kind of help because they can't take care of themselves anymore. So that would be the best thing that I would recommend.
Because just yesterday he fell down again, and we in turn called the paramedics, and when they got there, he didn't want to get into the ambulance. You know, he's irrational and talking, fussing and cursing and doing everything.
Right. Sounds like that's what y'all need to do. And they're right. They can't make him go. It's not like y'all have an order of anything saying that y'all are over him and y'all are taking care of his affairs. So they can't make him get in there. If he don't want to get in there, he doesn't have to. So
you think that if we get a power of attorney, that would help us with him?
So that's a good question. Power of attorney doesn't work like that. You cannot get a power of attorney without somebody's permission, because it sounds like you trying to go around him and get a power of attorney. He would have to actually sign on that power of attorney, given whoever power of attorney. So that's why I suggested the other way.
Intervention, as they call that. A lot of people need an intervention, I guess.
Exactly.
But yes. So, well, that was my question. You know, because we really worried about him with all those frauds that he's been getting.
Right.
Oh yes, yes, and sometimes if you don't, how old is he? You know, just
he's 65.
okay. And sometimes they blame family members for letting a condition go on.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. I don't know if there's some kind of Alzheimer's or something there, because what you're explaining, some of the patients that experience that, they start getting angry and cursing and upset and all of that.
And she tried the Office of Elderly Protection? Because there are many offices I see now.
Oh, they could probably help.
Yeah. Try calling. I think most sheriff departments and most judicial district has them. I know in Opelousas there's one. They always doing some special things in Opelousas. But I know you probably not there. But try if the parish or the jurisdiction where you at.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I sure appreciate y'all. Thank y'all very much.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
And thank you for being a great fan of 88.3 KIE. I feel so funny sitting in the hot seat with Sister Khadijah, man. I'm worried. A good thing I have my attorney here. Thank you for rocking that beautiful KIEE 88.3 FM shirt, and, you know, representing the radio station, Attorney Doas Smith. So, again, she's right, because I've heard many horror stories. You know, there's a tragic situation. I won't say much about it because I know the people involved. What happened in New Iberia to elderly woman. I know the family, and I know all parties involved, and it hurts me to hear that. But you know, check on your loved ones, check on your elderly people. That's all we could do, you know, and try to urge them to get help if a family member is falling short.
Right, and sometimes you have to help them yourselves, like we talked about earlier, because sometimes they won't get the help themselves, so you have to stand in.
Yes, we do. So, you know, on the week before last, we attended the United States Department of Justice Town Hall meeting on the issue with the Louisiana State Police and issues with law enforcement. And I went out there to Southern, Attorney Smith, and I've been there a number of times in the law school.
You went with Sister Khadijah?
Yeah.
She sent me something where she was getting put out of a meeting. Is that the meeting?
No. Southern loves her now. They don't put her out no more, you know. But certainly Southern University is a great institution. Your experience you went to Southern, right? Your
Correct.
Experience with Southern as far as a person being educated in the law, how was it? You know, I just want to ask you that question, you know.
Oh, I absolutely loved it. Nothing like it. And some of our Southern grads are some of the best attorneys ever. Like, I don't care what law school the other side went to. If they went to Harvard, I don't care. Put us up against some of them, and you'll see we're some of the best.
Yes. We met a number of great people over the years, and them hosting these events that inform the community, you know, as far as the people like the Justice Department. Whether or not we you know, a lot of people were angry at that meeting this time. I mean, we went to the one in New Orleans at Dillard, and then we went to this one. It's like people are saying they're tired of waiting, and I'm hoping that this election cycle, that those who are running for political offices, a lot of the state representatives, or who are even the ones who are in office now, should take into account that if the United States Department of Justice is doing a multi-city tour to get the feedback from the public, they should be doing the exact same thing, and that's the problem.
Yeah, that's great that they're doing that to actually get the input of the community.
And so tell us, let's talk about what is a misdemeanor and what is a felony.
Okay, so both of those are criminal terms. A felony is anything a year or more with or without hard labor. A misdemeanor is anything 6 months under a year. So that's the difference. And it just really depends on, what you're doing that determines what misdemeanor is.
Yeah, another thing is on the horizon is I don't know if the attorney is going to keep abreast of technology law. Hopefully one day I'll get a chance to have Brother Marcus Allen on because he's into technology also. But not to say you're not keeping yourself abreast, but this whole thing with AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, is starting to hit the news cycle. And on my Saturday show, we talked about it 4 months ago, and we told people this was the next big thing. And the next big thing, whether it's good or bad. Now, I see where Ice Cube came out this week, and he was upset that because there are people out there using artificial intelligence, what you call voice sampling techniques, to sample his voice, then make a complete recording of him performing in a musical rendition. And he's very upset about that. So you tell me, should laws be on, as an attorney, I don't know if you run it, I can't ask you should laws be on the book, but are there laws on the book that you know of governing copyright when somebody takes your whatever likeness or even your artwork and copies and make profits off it?
They definitely have copyright, patent infringement laws that definitely would speak to that. That's scary.
Yeah.
For somebody to take all of that and to make essentially a whole recording off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could use it for good things. I do all my, I'm up front. I do all my promos, all the AI voices,
Yeah, but he didn't authorize that.
Yeah. And the thing is, people could sample your voice, and they could use it. I mean, even KLFY did a piece on it where they sampled somebody's voice and said that their granddaughter was being kidnapped and they needed some money and had the voice sounding exactly like the young lady. And so you think they're going to be strict to laws and penalties against people who do such things?
I would think that there would be, because just like the situation that you're talking about, that's what I was going to say, that people will definitely take that and use it for criminal behavior and essentially try to frame people.
Yeah. And, even they got, just like they have facial recognition, they got voice recognition. Even at certain bank accounts, when they call in, they want you to say a couple of words. And and I think they're going to have to rethink all of this and so forth. So certainly AI and check the People's Tech and Entertainment Show out on Saturday. We're going to have some more on artificial intelligence. We told you guys that 4 months ago. I think we got a caller, attorney. Caller, welcome to the open line on KIEE 88.3 FM.
Hi, I have a couple of points about the Louisiana MAGA legislature.
Okay.
So if you notice what's going on in Texas, in Harris County, the MAGA legislature in Texas took away their autonomy in Harris County and have assigned the elections to a single MAGA person in the legislature. So they really lost their autonomy in Harris County. That recently happened yesterday. In Louisiana, Representative Gerald Boyer from New Iberia is proposing HB 260, which essentially removes federal oversight from state elections. So I believe there was a federal directive with respect to Marcus Bryant's district. I think it's 98. And so what Boyer is trying to do is remove any federal oversight so that the Louisiana MAGA legislature can do whatever they want. And what they'll end up doing is essentially removing elections.
Yeah. Yes.
Also, Marcus Bryant this past week voted against. He's on the Ag Commission. He voted against for a proposal for a simple commission to just investigate alternatives to cane burning. So some people were trying to put together just a commission to see if we couldn't figure out some different ways and alternatives for farmers to look at different ways of doing that, instead of burning cane, so the people would not be subjected to all of this pollution. He voted that down. He voted there's only 450 cane farming families in the state of Louisiana, and he voted against protecting the people of especially Iberia Parish.
Right.
I would suggest to Representative Bryant that he listen to the 1619 Project podcast, episode 5, which centers on the Provost family from New Iberia, who is a cane farmer, and the banks withhold the crop money, the timing of the release of the crop money, so that it's much harder for a black farmer to be able to farm cane in Louisiana, because the banks won't release the money like they do for other farmers. So if you don't get your money in time to be able to put your crop in the ground, you end up being late, and it's much more difficult to compete. So, that's an example of a representative not protecting the people either with pollution or protecting the people with the systemic racism issues. You've got Gerald Beaulier, who's trying to remove the federal oversight of the elections with the very few rules that we do have. So, again, it goes back to the elections that are coming up. All state representatives are up. Marcus Bryant, Gerald Beaulier, Blake Miguez. Blake Miguez is running for Senate. Senate District 22, that's coming up. Qualification is October the 8th through the 10th, and then the election is November the 13th. So anybody that wants to run against these people, the drop, you need to figure it out. October the 8th or the 10th, that's when you need to qualify and run against them.
Okay.
That's my comment. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Well, the caller had a whole lot of information. One thing I will agree, and I'm glad he brought all the great information up. One thing I will agree is about the cane burning. I live in the midst of a lot of cane fields, and I tell you what, the smoke coming from that is really bad, and it's pollution. Even though it's a brief time, a couple of weeks or something like that, it still is pollution going up in there. And they should by now have come up with better and innovative ways for it. Whatever the process of why they burn the sugarcane stalks or whatever, they should have come up with something else. And I would urge all the state legislative body to look at that. Louisiana has a lot of pollution going on. I think we have another caller. Caller, welcome to the open line.
Yes, sir. I have a question about housing.
Yes, go ahead.
If you're renting from your landlord and something in your household breaks, are you supposed to pay for it and fix it? For an example, the bathroom, I'm just going to say the bathroom had water around on the floor. So it was called to them to come and fix the toilet with the water around the floor. He told me that, God, I say who it was. He told me that if he sends a plumber, I have to pay $300 for that plumber. Is that right?
So that's a good question. So that goes to the lessors and the lessee's rights. So the landowner or the property owner, they are supposed to pay for things that are major. And then the person that is the renter, they're supposed to make the minor repairs. So I'm not sure what's in your contract. I would advise you to look at your lease and to see what's in there, number one. And number two, if it's something that's major, that's something for him to fix, not for you. So examples of something minor would be like changing light bulbs, stuff like that, changing out the air filters for the air conditioner. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that, if there's something that requires for the toilet to be replaced or some type of plumbing work. If it is, that sounds major to me, and it sounds like that's something that's his burden.
Well, that's what I understood. I understand from somebody else. They saying that I should not have to pay to fix the plumbing area around the toilet.
Okay, so it's plumbing. Yeah, that sounds like something that's major. I would explain that to him because that's in the law about lesser and lessee's rights and who is to repair what. So I would explain it to him, and if you need to, you might have to get an attorney to help him understand that. Or maybe he understands that and thinks that you don't understand it.
I think he understands. I really truly do think he understands. Because I know I bought the screen door because the screen door broke on my watch. So I replaced the screen door.
Right.
Anything that's in here, I replaced that I know what we done.
Oh, absolutely.
So if the toilet and the plumbing backed up or whatever the case may be, I feel that's what they.
Yeah, that's his burden because he's the one that owns the house, not you.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But that's what he said.
You might need to speak with him and threaten legal action, and then maybe.
Ma'am?
I say you might need to speak with him and maybe threaten legal action, and see if that will prompt him to get it fixed on his dime and not on yours.
Well, I fixed it. It got fixed, but it was sent through a text message. If I send somebody over there to fix your plumbing, you got to pay $300. And I'm like, pay $300 for what? This cause of nature. We didn't break this. We didn't do this because a tree fell, and the tree was on his side of the property where I'm living.
Oh, yeah.
And it fell into the woman next door house. And she asked him where he cut the tree down. He told her he didn't have to cut the tree down because it was an act of nature.
Okay, so he just sounds like a slumlord all the way around at this point.
Yes, ma'am. So when I called him for the toilet, and when he told me about the $300, I texted him back and told him it is an act of nature. You gonna come and fix this toilet because I let the toilet rot the floor. I let the toilet rot the floor because the water coming from down at the bottom of the toilet. So you gonna make me pay $300 for something from the act of nature? I'm like, that's not right. So somebody said, well, you need to talk to a lawyer.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest is that you get with an attorney at this point. And I mean, it sounds like you weren't happy about him texting it, but it's good that he texted to you because that means that you have evidence, you have written proof of what he's saying. Take that to the attorney.
Yes, ma'am, I sure do. Every text message he sends, I got it on my phone. But that's all I wanted to know, if something breaks in his house that's for him, do I supposed to pay for it?
It depends on what it is. If it's something major, then it's on him. If it's something minor, then it's on you. So let's say like your air conditioner unit breaks. That's on him. That's not on you. Changing out the filters, that's you. That's not him. And like you said, if it's something that you damaged, that's you. Yes, ma'am. No problem.
And you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, caller. Certainly some concern. And again, I know it shouldn't be on, when I say keep abreast of what's going on with the laws on the book, I think everybody should be trying to educate themselves. In the state we live in, if you get a chance to keep abreast by going online and check out the different laws, do some research, go to Google. There's a lot of bad stuff on the internet, but there's a lot of good stuff to help educate yourself.
Absolutely. And they have this website called Justia, Justia, and you can look on that website and you can look up the laws. So you can see the exact wording of it. So, so you can know what you have to work with when somebody tries to come to you in this type of situation.
I want to give a big shout out to AOC Community Media. Hopefully, I'm looking at the still from the website. We are live on Cox 15 and LUS Channel 3. We really appreciate AOC Community Media, our media partners. I just want to say one thing. There's probably going to be some changes to AOC soon with different personnel coming in. Please support this online and terrestrial TV platform. It is needed in the community. Please support 88.3 KIEE. This is much needed in the community. So, matter of fact, I'm getting ready to get out of the hot seat and turn it over to the queen because I do not want nothing to happen to me while a lawyer's here. Good morning, Sister Khadijah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
Shout out to Sister Jamila. And shout out to Queen.
Attorney Dwa, and that's Sister
Ma'at. Sister Ma'at.
M-A-A-T. All right.
So, Sister Khadijah, you got a hotline already.
Have a call already.
Call it. You have a question or a comment?
I have a question.
You're on, ma'am.
Oh, that's for the attorney.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a friend of mine that lives in a trailer park, and the landlord told her that she's behind with her taxes, the city tax or whatever it is, the city tax. But on her paperwork, it doesn't say that she's responsible for the tax on the lot.
Does she own this trailer? Or she's a renter?
The trailer is hers. She's renting the lot. And the man told her that she got to pay the tax on that land. Is she responsible for that tax?
So if she does not own the land, that goes to the landowner. That's who the taxes are for. Unless they made some type of agreement.
All the tenants in the trailer park stating that they have to pay the tax.
Well, listen, I'm not sure what their contract or lease says. If there's something that says that they're responsible for the taxes and they agreed to that.
Well, I read her contract, and it didn't say nothing about her paying the tax.
Okay. Well, then she's not responsible for that.
And the this and the that, but it never mentioned nothing about the tax.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then she's not responsible for that, and that's the landowner is trying to get over.
All of them. He got about maybe 10 trailers, and I asked the rest if they got to pay the tax, and they say he sent them a paper also to pay the tax. Go to the
that's probably because they don't know any better. And that's why we talk about this all the time about y'all reading these papers and making sure you understand what's in these papers. And if you don't understand, take it to somebody who does understand.
I don't live in a trailer park. A friend of mine does.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. But I'm just speaking in general.
Yeah, because I'm just asking a question for her.
Oh, yeah. Based on what you told me, he's responsible for those taxes, not her. Mm-hmm. He's just trying to get them to pay his taxes.
And that's what I basically told her.
Yeah.
You got to educate yourself.
Yeah, because the thing about it, if the taxes aren't paid and then that property is confiscated, they can move their trailers elsewhere. That's not affecting them. That's affecting the person that owns the land.
And some of these landlords don't sign contracts or make available paper contract. You should always get something in writing.
Always.
Because she showed me the paperwork, and it doesn't state that she's responsible for taxes.
Oh, no. Right. Well, she needs to let him know we did not agree to that. That's your baby, and you need to handle
that. And call the parish or the domicile where it's at and let them know to government officials and find out
Right.
what's in they. They'll straighten him out if he's doing something wrong.
But you can look on the tax assessor's office and see who the taxes go to. It's not going to be 10 different people's names because they're not co-owners.
Right.
Because when she moved, that land gonna still be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the lines are lighting up. Sister Khadija walk in the room, and we're not having that many phone calls till you showed up.
Carla, you have another. Carla, you have a question or a comment? You're on.
I have a question with that comment about when I used to rent a trailer on a land, and the city used to send us for us to pay land tax. And I still have some of that way back from the 80s, what they used to do is each trailer that was a park on the land, the city used to make us pay land tax.
Okay. Well, but that sounds like a different situation. So that sounds like two different situations. It sounds like you're saying the city was sending you personally a tax payment, and she's saying that that's not in their contract, that the guy owns the land and he's telling them that they need to pay the taxes. That's two different situations.
Oh, no. Back then, at the time, the landowner used to tell us that we had to pay the tax on that land because we was renting that land space.
Okay, well, I've never...
And that's something I never understood back in the days. Why should we have to pay taxes on a land that we just renting a trailer? And if that's his land, the whole lot, why do we have to pay taxes on that land? Yes, ma'am. That's been going on. The city been telling everybody, if you rent from them a trailer on that land, you got to pay the land taxes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, that's new information to me. I've never heard of that before. Yeah. This is the first time I've heard that.
Yes, ma'am. I still have my papers from 1980s paying the land tax when I had the trailer on the land. Yes, ma'am. The city will send you a tax to pay tax for that land at the end of the year. Okay. If you have a trailer on their lot, on their piece of land, you have to pay land tax. And like I said, I got things back from 1977, all my receipts of everything.
And then did the landowner also have to pay taxes?
Thank y'all.
Ma'am.
Ma'am. She has one more question.
Did the landowner also have to pay taxes?
Oh, yeah. Well, at the moment, we never did see that they went up there to pay for the land taxes. But I do know if he got 20 or 30 trailers on that land, each person is responsible to pay for that lot. Yes, ma'am.
So y'all had lot taxes, and then he had to pay land taxes? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Everybody that's on that land is responsible to pay a property tax on that one big old land. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's interesting. All right. Thanks for calling and letting us know that.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. I mean, if there's something from the city, if they have some kind of local ordinance or something, then I guess it's legit. But it sounds like what they were saying was he's trying to get them to pay his taxes.
Right. I'm gonna segue a little before we get some other phone calls. I saw where House Senate Bill 265, sponsored by Representative Brian Quatno, a Republican out of Thibodeau. That's what, according to the listening paper, just tried to push a law to repeal where they would say police mugshot could soon be made public again. I thought they were public already.
That's what I'm about to say. Again?
No, I think that they changed the law to if it was certain types of crimes that they can't publish your mugshot.
Yeah. Well, for minor stuff, or even I would like to know what they do with those mugshots of people who not even convicted of any crime. Exactly. Because they put them out there.
Put them in different databases, like you Google them, and that stuff is still up there, and they weren't even convicted of it.
And I'm an advocate for having databases of bad law enforcement people who were cited or removed from a jurisdiction because of wrongdoing. we should have a public database. They got all kind of organizations have databases, but they don't have a public government sanctioned database of
Right, that's
bad
a good
cops. I'm gonna
point.
call that bad cops.
Because we talked about that a couple
brought
weeks
that up
ago.
to the Justice Department.
Last week when we was in Baton Rouge,
Right.
you know, we brought all of that up.
Okay, Sister Khadija, you're on. We've been waiting. We saying, well, wow, you know, what you got for us today on child support?
Okay, on child support. You know, some of us
That's not funny either.
some
That's
of
not
us
funny.
some of us do have to work for a living.
Yes.
One
You can
guy
pay child support.
one guy
To pay the child support.
Yeah, to pay the child support. One gentleman called me and said that his baby mother, she took and she collected a bunch of monies on behalf of their daughter, and she didn't share it with him, and he was highly pissed with that because the money was supposed to be for the parents and not just for the child, being that he is legally paying his child support faithfully. Remember when they were sending those monies through that COVID thing, and you had so many kids, you were able to get.
Oh, the stuff for the taxes and all that?
Right. And he said she collected all that money and she never shared it with him. And what he hated, the fact is that they didn't even take half of that off for his child support.
Right. I know exactly what you're talking
so
about.
So Michael D'Angelo, if you could call in, we're waiting to hear from you. All right. Attorney Dwash says she knows exactly what you're talking about.
I'm trying to remember. I think, and I can't remember if it was specified if that went to maybe the parent that the kids stayed with or if that was for both parents. I don't remember. I mean, he could be absolutely right that it was for both parents.
Correct. Because both of them made the baby, conceived the child. But, you know, like he said, he the only one that's paying child support.
Well, Sister Khadija, you quick to say, and I got to challenge this like we do in court. You quick to say they both made the baby. I mean, because that was purposely done.
Okay, whether it was purposely done or not, you went there. And what upsets me a lot, and I'm a mother of some children.
Okay.
What upsets me a lot is the fact that the black man is automatically criminalized. And there's, if we made the baby in good faith, evidently, and stuff, we conceived in good faith. But how does that good faith when we decide to split up or we go our separate ways? Now all of a sudden he's a villain and she's just little Lily, good shoe, you know, going to Mr. Charlie and making him put him on that child support. That's what upset me with some of our young mothers, you know, the vindictiveness that they have on these young men. Now, if the man not trying to do jack of anything, okay, that's cool. You know, go and tell his mama you're going to go and report him, you know, but then give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, a lot of them, they want to participate in their children's life, but because of their mother anger, it just stops them, you know.
Well, I got one answer for you.
Get you an attorney.
Well, get you are you sure it's your child? But your child.
That's the first thing.
You just said Mr. Charlie, but Betty Wright said, "Don't blame Mr. Charlie. He's just a man."
Mr. Charlie's just a man.
Right.
Yes.
It's just
and
those.
he's doing the best he can.
Right. And it's just those men that's apparently running everything. They just a man. We ain't gonna play that just a man stuff. That's for sure.
Well, again, you're listening to Attorney Dwa Smith on the Open Line, the Ask a Lawyer segment. Great to have her back in studio. Great to have the Taskmaster back in studio, Sister Khadija, and welcome, Sister Ma'at. So we're certainly going to have some great discussions on today. Sister Khadija, again, how you keep up with all these new laws that are being advanced in the Louisiana State Legislature? I did emphasize when we were talking earlier with Attorney Dwa that people are going to have to find some way to educate themselves to keep up with these laws. But the statistics about Louisiana is so damning, and I hate to be the purveyor of bad news. none of these laws have moved the needle where Louisiana has showed some type of improvement. All the leading indicators, education, health, economics, and law. So that's just me.
And not only that, but just Lafayette in general received over 89 something $million, and they just recently had an audit on your mayor.
My mayor? I got another mayor, me.
Okay. Well, they just
I'm
recently
just
had an
passing through
audit
town.
on the mayor, Guillory.
Yes.
All right. And there are some serious discrepancies within that audit, but yet, and it's showing that some millions of dollars is being misplaced. But yet, if you or I evidently went in the store and wrote out a check thinking we had funds, it's going to bounce. They're going to go ahead and press charges against us. But yet, for this big entity like Josh Guillory, who mishandled millions of dollars. There's nothing that's being done about that. A lot of the COVID money went on the other side of Lafayette, which that side been flourishing for so long till it's unreal. But you come on this side, and you could see all the different potholes, all the different chains around fences, which is uncalled for, which is not professionally done for business. So I'm just lost.
There's some interesting article, people, to refer to Sister Khadijah. Go and check the Current magazine, the Current, they're online, just do the Current LA. Also, Sister Khadijah, there's an even bigger scandal in the 15 JDC.
Are you talking about the 15 JDC or the 16 JDC?
The 15 JDC. Well, there's probably some in there. I'm just speculating. But I'm talking about the stuff that's being written, and that ever-widening federal probe of what went on with bribery within the 15 JDC in the district attorney's office. Pay attention to that, people, because it lends itself to being that, can we trust the same people that are going to be standing in judgment or prosecuting us? So I'm just saying, Sister Attorney Smith, that because I know that's a practice that you practice in that jurisdiction, but it still lends itself to the ordinary citizen. There's a lot of corruption going on.
Well, yeah.
Check out the articles. Don't believe me.
Okay, right. And not only that, but then you have to go back and define yourself. What is a criminal? What is a criminal? Is a criminal somebody that...
right there, you could tell us.
Oh, she might not use my language. Is a criminal somebody that has a three-piece suit on, has a necktie, Caucasian, goes into the bank and steal millions of dollars, or this little black guy who ordinarily went and stole a pot, and you want to charge him as a 3-time habitual offender? Yeah. It's just
maybe
both.
Stole a pot too many times.
Both. One's a white collar crime, one is not.
Right. What is the difference between white collar crime? Caller, you have a question or a comment? You're on.
Yes, I got a comment to y'all talking about criminals. Notice the criminals always be the one to call other people criminals. And our biggest thing is that we don't realize the criminals have always been the one with the eyes who make the so-called stipulation to what people should be living about. But yet still, these white folks have always told us that niggers were lazy. They didn't want to pay their bill. Look at these Republican Party. Nobody wants to call them out for what they are. And yet still, we still here debating on what a criminal is, and we watching criminal activity go on in the justice system. And yet still, we asking the people who obstruct justice to bring justice. I don't blame them for treating black people the way they treat us, because we don't do to them what they do to us. That's why they don't respect us. And the only way we get respect is do unto them what they do unto us. And until we recognize this is the American way, we're going to keep being at the bottom of the bucket and only calling out when they need us to come vote for certain white people who don't care about black people, and yet still we always be the one to pull the white people out, and then they take a dump on us, and we feel, oh, we gonna get them next time for election. Stop playing in this democratic system and wake up and realize your life is your politics. Your life is your religion. All these things matters to black people. We just got to get that belief that we can't do unto them what they have been doing to us. It's always we got to be the bigger people. We are the bigger people. We're the
5,
civilized people.
4,
Until they understand that, we gonna realize it.
2, 1. Thank you, Mr. Kevin. And on our program, we're going to discuss what we want to discuss, how we want to discuss it, and when we want to discuss it. When your program is on Thursdays at 5:30 to 6:30, you go into this whole other area. I mean, I've tried to call in a bunch of times, and either I'm too late or your co-host, Reggie, he done took up this so much time, you done took up this so much time. So I'm not going to tell you how to run your show. I'm going back to the beginning. What is your definition of a criminal? Is a criminal somebody that wears a 3-piece suit, a necktie, works for the bank, who steals millions of dollars? SNL scandal, almost $1 billion was stolen. I can't even think of the guy name that was right up in there.
That was doing the Keating scandal.
Okay, right. Now, North. You know, and that's part of the problems that we having with that. That's part of the problems that we having right now when it comes down to that immigration stuff. They done the United States done help steal, malign, and did so much when it came down to these third world countries. Now you seen the effect. You know, they the one that brought all these drugs in. They got documentary, they got everything that could give you the actual proof. So it's okay to talk about what we want to talk about when we feel like talking about it. Now, caller, you have 2 minutes. You have a question or a comment. I'm not asking for no dissertation. You make your question or you make your comment. You're on.
Yes, hello.
Yes?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Brother Jake, Sister Khadijah, it's good to hear y'all. Happy Wednesday.
You're on with Attorney Dwight Sweet, too.
Okay.
Today's the 25th day of May, 2023. Hey, guys, I want to share something with all of us. You know, Frankie Beverly and Mays made a song called Working Together. I think that a lot of us need to play that song over and over and over until we start doing what the song talks about. Because we got so many things that come into our thought process in our minds about the things that's happening, and they are happening. Now, let's not be ignorant. These things are happening. But I think that we got to counter those things with working together. When you work together, you can fix a house, you can fix plumbing, you can fix anything that's broken, or you can build something new.
All right.
When you work together. And let me close, Mr. Khadijah, 1 second. Let me close.
10.
And then if you play Ronnie Law's song every generation, you're going to learn something about the generation and how it changes. Guys, we all got the answers to the things that we are Fox Radio this morning. But if we don't put our heads together and our minds together and work together, guys,
all right.
It's like pulling a doggone ship. You'll never do it by yourself.
All right. Thank you. And you spoke about Carl, I'm coming directly to you. There's a few other songs that I could think about. Smiling Faces by the Undisputed Truth. People smiling in your faces sometimes. Pretend to be your friend.
Backstabbers.
Caller, you're on.
Yes, we're going to get some descriptive terms.
I find it interesting that you're discussing the definition of a criminal because we do have so many, it seems to me we have so many criminals in government, one of which is the Attorney General Jeff Landry, who brokers Mexican workers to build the LNG export facility, and he puts that money in his pocket. I don't understand how a person who is the Attorney General of the state can all of a sudden become a labor broker, like a mob boss, and bring these people in and build these things and he puts that money in his pocket. And I'll give you another example that I just found the other day. There's a Representative Desatel from Marksville who did $9 million with the state last year supplying computers to the public school system. And this guy is a representative. You also have Gerald Boyer, who has a disclosed interest in a personal health care insurance company. And he is also being paid to go to these MAGA conferences to learn how to make the laws regarding personal health insurance.
That's Boyer, right? That's
policy.
Boyer.
Yeah, so Boyer is going to make the laws. He's going to now is part owner of a company that sells personal health insurance policies. So it's all the MAGA people go into business or actually go into politics, and they get rich. And another way that they're going to end up doing it too is, again, I go back to this, they're going to start imprisoning poor people, and then they're going to get the tax revenue from it. So they're going to build these, these juvenile prisons. They're going to start charging the taxpayers for it, and they're just going to make these prison mills. So, specific examples of, real criminals that are in the state government are Jeff Landry, who has this labor brokerage firm. He has no competence. He should not be building LNG facilities. He doesn't know he doesn't have any technical ability to do that. Puts that money in his pocket. He's shaking these people down like a mob boss. You've got this guy Desatel in Marksville who did $9 million supplying computers to public schools last year. He's a state representative. You've got Boyer, who has ownership in a health insurance firm, and he's going to these MAGA conferences. You've also got Ryan Boriak, and he's in Cameron or Vermilion Parish. He's employed by the LNG industry. He used to work for Venture. Now he works for some dark guy. I don't know, some guy. But that guy's tied to LNG too. So the entire state legislature, I don't know how they're not, how you don't call these people criminals.
Yeah.
So that's my comment. And those are the facts. Please look it up. You can go to LA Checkbook.
I've read it
online.
too. You're exactly
You can look up Detail, which is owned by Representative Desatel in Marksville, and you can follow the $9 million that the state of Louisiana paid that state representative. Thank you.
Okay.
It's just Sister Khadija, he brought out a lot of information. That information is public records also, just for the sake of, transparency. Listen, House Bill 131, Attorney Smith, we should be concerned. Louisiana is one of the highest crime states when it comes to gun violence. The House just okayed. I don't know if the Senate or the governor going to sign it into legislation. We don't know. That House bill would allow adults to carry a concealed firearm without a license. So, I don't know how those who have concerns over gun rights or having too many guns in the hands of people,
Yeah, so gun violence is really a huge problem right now. And if that's signed into legislation, that's just going to amplify the problem.
Well, Louisiana is almost number one in gun violence and gun death. And nobody in the legislative body can solve none of the problems that keep us last. So I'm just saying. Anybody got a better idea? Any legislative person want to call in and debate why everybody should have a gun concealed walking into every place? They have mass shootings every day. You can't go to an event outside now. They have shootings, what is a person to do who don't have a gun? Guess what? I purchased me a gun too, So that's the only outcome you have, Khadija.
Yeah. Purchasing a gun, you have to be able to.
Without a permit.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that means just like give everybody a gun in their gumbo pot.
Okay. Call it. Oh, turn down your radio. You have a question?
That's the argument I'm making.
Oh.
Yeah, quick comment to y'all, gun violence. Look, guys, number one, the Republicans don't care about the gun regulation because, as you notice, their little commercials, they all have an AK-47 to let you know they represent the ignorance of gun violence. And the Democrats, a lot of them not going to come out and say that they participate with the same mentality of the Republicans because they getting checks too. And when you talk about criminalization and how we're allowing the people who really criminalize the people against their 14th Amendment. That is a violation of the human rights, citizen right, and the due process of laws. But yet still, we don't talk about these things here that really incriminates us. Every time they get in trouble, they always want to use the constitutional laws. When we get in trouble, we feel we got to go get a lawyer who's scared to use their law education against criminalization of a corporation called the justice system. And until we realize this is about money, and the people at the bottom, as black, white, and brown people, are the new livestock. They use us to keep them afloat. But as long as they control us, they divide us. And yet still, all I'm talking about is why we keep talking about the symptom and not the causes, Sister Khadijah. I'm not trying to tell y'all what to talk about. It's y'all right to talk about those things. But y'all have an open line and give other people opinions. And all I'm saying, I'm stating my opinion, which is a fact in my life, that until we stand up and start telling these criminals about the criminalization they're doing to the people, they're going to keep doing it. Now, the great white guy, he just called and told you all the so-called Republicans who got us in slavery. But he's not going to tell you about all the Democrats who are all white and black doing the same thing. Their job is to keep the people confused with their bondage. So wake up and talk about the things that causes these symptoms. That's how we get to solve these problems. Not talking about the symptoms that they always throw out and tell us they don't know what to do. They know exactly what to do. And thank y'all. Y'all always have a great show, but don't get offended when somebody don't have the same opinion as y'all. Thank y'all again.
And nobody's offended.
That sounds like a genuine thank you this time.
Right, and nobody is offended. What's so good about the open line here every Wednesday from 9:05 to 10:40 is the fact that we have intelligent callers, we have passionate callers, and it's just so good that we together with all of the listening audience, somehow we can really make a difference and help people really think, well, this happened, this didn't happen. I remember when this ULL student, a white guy, shot three people for breaking into his truck. One of them was killed. The other person was paralyzed. The other person recuperated from his wounds. He was able to, that's all was 3 counts of attempted murder. However, he pleaded one of these little lesser charge, went to a judge that we all know so well, and this judge took and gave him 18 months at this little halfway facility in St. Martinville. Mm-hmm. Now, trust me, even though the judge was black, had any one of us shot 3 people, killing one, paralyzing the other one, and the other one is traumatized for life, is that we would be looking at some 10, 15, 20 years. You have this other case. This lady the 2 ladies get into it. The lady go, they still having words, and then the lady go and through the alley, and her and this other lady still having words. However, this one lady took and ran her and her sister over, and all she got from the judge was probation. What kind of idiotic BS that is? That young girl, her hair, she had a weave on, her hair got caught up into that car, and it pulled the top of her scalp off. So tell me, is that equal justice, or what type of justice are we talking about right about now? Carly, you have a quick question or a comment?
So tell us why you don't want to mention who this black judge is, and you an activist, without giving the name, so we can all be accountable to hold this person accountable for his action of bringing injustice.
I don't
give these names.
All right,
please.
Right. I don't have a problem with mentioning his name. I didn't mention his name so many times. Judge, God dog it, the one that has the toupee on, Judge Rubin. That's who the judge was. And so I don't have a problem with
didn't-
because that's public
I
records.
didn't know he had a toupee. I mean,
Well, yeah,
you
yeah,
was very
yeah,
descriptive.
At one time,
Okay.
when black men was going in his courtroom, he would not let them go in with gold teeth. If you're in here, when you come back, I want those gold teeth removed. So we was outraged behind that, and then finally. I don't know, either he heard us somewhere and stuff. Nobody is telling him about his Afro toupee. Nobody is telling him about removing that. So he don't have the right to tell me to remove my gold teeth if I'm coming back in his courtroom. Caller, you have a question or a comment? You on? Hello? Okay, I must have lost you. Caller, you have a question or a comment? You on?
I have a quick comment. I'd just like to suggest to the audience of a Democrat that does bad things for people. So Representative Marcus Bryant is a Democrat, and he votes for every single oil tax exemption that defunds all of our parishes and all of our public services. And not only does it do that, but when he votes for those oil tax exemptions, it puts money into the pockets of the white supremacists that support and get these MAGA people elected to these positions.
Yeah.
That's my comment. And Mr. Kevin always says that I'm some sort of Democrat or something, or implies that. I don't know. But I'm not. I do not represent the Democratic Party. There are some terrible Democrats that have been elected. Another one would be Katrina Jackson, the senator.
Yes, Katrina
who,
Jackson.
is the reason that abortion is against the law in Louisiana. Also, Senator Regina Barrow in Baton Rouge, who tried to push legislation that would have prisoners castrated who were sexual offenders. That's my comment. Thank you.
Yeah. That is absolutely correct. Sister Ma'at?
I had a question. Is it possible to make a law that the judges who make irregular adjudications, what do you call those? When the judge makes a call or claim,
put your
ruling. Thank you. When the judge makes a ruling that is out of line with what the law is asking for him or her to do, can you make a law that those people should be removed and that their that their rulings should be removed too? Do we have a law like that?
So we don't have any law like that, and judges have immunity. So what would happen in a situation like that, we have the next level. So if you don't agree with the ruling of a judge on the district court, then you have the Court of Appeal. If you don't agree with that, then you can have what's called a rehearing. If the rehearing is not in your favor, then you can go to the Louisiana Supreme Court. And then depending on what type of case you have, your top court is the U.S. Supreme Court. So that is the venue that you would use for that.
Well, we need to do and then really,
I highly doubt that would happen.
Yeah, really, this is a joke because of the simple fact, some 25 years ago, a few black lawyers got together and they took the state of Louisiana to court because they were not allowing black lawyers the ability to become black judges. All right, and one of the main reasons that you want our own representation, black judges supposed to understand coming from a black background and everything like that. But damn, we done elected all of these black judges that's not doing too much of anything when it came down to the people. We caller. We're going to have to limit your call. Go ahead. You got 2 minutes.
Quick comment. Just like we elect these judges and DAs and all that, we can do an appeal to get them out of there. But it's up to the people to talk about everything that's happening. And I want to give credit to Mr. Levy. He's finally agreeing with me that, it's not about racism. It's about the black people that we are electing are the one that's really putting us and keeping us in poverty. He mentioned Marcus Bryant. Chris Williams, was the one sponsor Marcus Bryant because he was black. We got to stop looking at these politicians as their color. We got to see what their ideas is. And that's why I like to ask these questions to these politicians that we need to know. But a lot of y'all at the radio show always give them cover for not be answered with questions about their history. And we need to know their history because we giving them money to understand if they're gonna bring true justice.
Okay.
So keep doing that, but keep not editing yourself to credit their lies.
Okay, all right, but Mr. Kevin, I don't think
Well, you know,
Dr. Williams is sponsoring Marcus Brown. I
Well,
mean,
you know, Khadijah, if I guess someone mean if we say it, it must count for a whole lot because the callers are saying what they
Well,
have to say.
you know,
so
and
isn't that enough for them saying it themselves?
okay, that is enough for them
As
saying
being
it.
a whole,
But
you
what,
have to
but,
be balanced.
But what is the problem? We elected you. You came around saying that you was gonna do thus.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you got in there, you made sure your teeth was wide enough because you was gonna be smiling all over.
Right.
That's the biggest problem that we have there.
Right.
You know,
Right.
caller, you have a brief question and a brief comment.
Yes, I want to talk about them banning all these books.
Oh, the banning.
Eagle, what they're doing, taking those books off the shelves like that.
All right.
I just heard this morning that little young lady that gave that poem for Biden, her book is going to be taken off.
Yeah, that's
the shelf.
in Florida.
Right.
Yeah, and even Jeff Landry is trying to take some books off the shelf.
But they all got the playbook. The conservatives and the Republicans have the same playbook to change the rules to change the line. So when we catch up to that line, they're gonna move it back further. So right now they're attacking Black history, but they're lumping that into other issues that very passionate in the Black community, like transgender, gay and lesbian right, and they're putting that in one pot and they call that wokeness. And you see, the thing is, a lot of us might have some personal disagreement on these other issues, but I think we all agree that Black history and Black studies should be an important issue in our community, and we'd be ashamed if we let someone go in that Louisiana legislative body and a state that has more Blacks in proportion to any other state of the voting electorate, let them change that where Black history or Black studies cannot be taught in universities and colleges, in Southern University, in schools in across Louisiana.
Well, they said it took one woman to have them remove that little young lady book.
One woman. Oh, one woman. That's ridiculous.
And it was probably a white woman.
Most likely. Thank you so much. And you know the problem I have is like just being a bully on people knowledge. You don't have the right to tell me that I should not know about my Blackness. Are you afraid that little Dick and little Mary, they're gonna be so offended when they find out that your great ancestors took and lynched women, took and raped women? Still today, y'all got the father of medicine, that hypocrite murderer. Y'all still got him as the father of medicine when he was the one that took and done surgeries on Black slave women over and over and over again, and never once tried to give them any type of relief. But y'all praised him. Y'all praised him. So look.
That comes on the heels of the national NAACP issuing an advisory in Florida advising Black folks not to travel to Florida based on the fact that Black folks might be in some type of danger. Black folks not welcome in Florida because of people like Ron DeSantis and others in that conservative movement, not only in Florida but around the country, and they're changing the law. So I'm just saying what came out of the NAACP.
And what about Louisiana? What about Louisiana?
I love to think that we got a lot of fighters out here.
Yeah,
no
we do have
what.
a lot of fighters, but then at the same time, look like we're losing the battle. You got to make sure that when your grandchildren is going somewhere, look, you got your insurance paper. I want you to make sure you have your license right there up front. I want to make sure any lights broke. You know, a lot of this is unnecessary, and it's because of the color of our skin.
And granted that they're changing laws on the book as we sleep. You cannot be. I think that law they're trying to advance 25 feet within law enforcement, and that's mainly
25.
Mainly, they say for their safety, but it's mainly to stop people from having close-up videos. And that came out of what happened with Mr. Green out there in Shreveport with the Louisiana State Police because now it could even be difficult to get their body cam footage. You know, so I'm hoping if all of this thing settled, the Justice Department come up with some type of situation where they could sanction all of these different wrongdoing that's been going on with law enforcement.
Now, I wonder they banning her book. Are they going to be banning the Bible? If you go through the Bible, we have so many things in the
y'all
Bible.
Got some good things, which I don't believe. They put God. Didn't they pass a law to put God in the public schools to have a listing of in God we trust? So
who wrote the Bible? Where does the Red Sea come from? Why is it the Red Sea? Because there's so many people that was killed there. That's the same thing like in the Colfax massacre. So
you don't believe in a separation of church and state?
Well, you're not. Well, what I believe in is totally different. But people, I mean, it shouldn't come together. So that's what I'm saying. You know, you got the Holy Bible. Y'all not banning that, and the Bible done went through brothers, sisters, brothers killing brothers. I mean, the same thing that's going on now.
Hypocrites.
But, hypocrites. Yeah, but y'all not banning them.
Well, Sister Khadijah certainly is on the path to be a judge today, Attorney Dwyer, and I'm scared to take any order from her right now.
And yes, and we do have a couple of PSA. Don't forget that the ULL has Veterans Upward Bound program. Veterans Upward Bound program. That's with Miss Linda at 337-482-5835. 337-482-5835. And it's a group of honorably discharged veterans that come there and they attend classes such as math, science, English, computers, you know, and that's a great thing. That's a great thing.
I was asking Attorney Dwyer about AI and how it could clash with new laws on the book about artificial intelligence taking people
likeness.
likeness.
Wanted to talk about artificial intelligence.
People likeness and doing whatever they want with them. Sister Khadijah?
Yes. It was, Sister Maat wanted to talk about it. What y'all call it, AI?
Yeah, artificial intelligence.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's so many ways to approach artificial intelligence, you know, which was created long before it became a common household name in the public discourse. But we know that Google, at its inception, at its beginning, said that it wanted to go into artificial intelligence and that they were going to gather information, which it seems they have done, right? And the two inventors, discoverers of Google, what's his name, Brin, and the other guy, and they have set about doing it. And you think, oh, they must have had some noble purpose that they were going to use AI to help us, artificial intelligence to help us. But their underlying reason for setting up artificial intelligence in whatever way they wanted to was for profit. Oh my God, just fall out on the floor for that. I will risk the safety of myself, my country, my fellow people to make money. Also, they said at the beginning of the artificial intelligence projects that they would not set up robots or whatever to think, not to think, but to learn from each other. This is a major twist. AI has been learning from other AI for years, and they are self-initiating information that was not programmed into them by human beings.
The scary part of them becoming self-aware.
Self-aware, drawing their own conclusions. Very much like that computer in, what was it, 2001?
I saw this one called the Forgan Project. Go look at that with, Victor White. Not Victor White. I'm sorry. Victor Newman on The Young and the Restless. He played in that movie, a made-for-TV movie. That movie is actually mimics what's going on now with artificial intelligence. It's called the Forgan Project. Go look it up. It's on YouTube. It's an old movie. exactly how the future has turned out.
Okay,
something becoming self-aware.
All right,
And
well, let's just go to the caller right quick, and we'll go back to you. Caller, you have a question or a comment? You're on.
Yes, ma'am. I'm glad she brought up the AI because we have been being in fear about immigrants with these corporations and the people who run in the government saying that the immigrants were going to take their job. Meanwhile, they're passing laws for this AI to take everybody's job. They told us like 10 years ago that within 10 years we was going to be having 250,000 jobs being taken by AI, but we weren't paying attention to that because our so-called politicians making all kind of bans against the people instead of the corporation who really criminalizing the people. So AI is the biggest destruction to our people. Right now in Walmart, Super One, you're noticing that they're putting everything to the self-checkout. That's losing jobs.
Yes.
So if we don't wake up and realize whenever government starts to so say participate in something, it's to rape the people, not to help the people. We got to understand that, not knowing that these people, it's not the government fault, it's the people who run in the government is the biggest problem because government was started to help the people not get into involuntary servitude or slavery. And now we're in it.
Okay.
So we can get out of it just like we got in it by stop representing these people who don't see our views as being Americans and having our freedoms and liberties. And that's black, white, and brown people.
Okay,
Thank y'all again.
When is your show? Mr. Kevin. Okay, he hangs up quick.
I just had a few more things to add.
Yes,
I mean, I know you guys have much more in-depth knowledge about things that are happening overall, but some of the peer-reviewed articles have talked about not only should we be afraid of AI because I mean, AI could just decide in order to protect us, it needed to kill us. And that's, that's our ultimate question. But by having AI make decisions for us, analyze information for us, we start losing the ability to think. To comprehend.
That's
that
right.
is one of the most fundamental human things is that we can contemplate things. We lose that ability. One said we've already started losing that ability. And but I can just say that AI is not our friend. Even if it's friendly, it is not our friend. It is taking over ourselves. And it says that our civilization, the very foundation on what we call civilization, will be taken away from us before they get to the AR-15.
Not only that, Google has access to all our personal information because even if you go sign up on for a doctor's visit on one of the other websites, Google has that access to that information. They don't tell you that. You know,
yes.
And one other thing I want to ask Sister Khadijah before.
I was before you, Jay.
Okay, she raised her hand. She raised her hand.
And
Thank you so much.
One of the callers text, she said that child support is really good. She said sometimes many fathers can't even claim their children during income tax time, and the mother don't even work. Someone else is carrying them, and some can't even get their child support. Their child's school report card. It is awful. It really is.
Okay,
really
and I gotta say this for that's
okay. Go ahead.
I saw where KLFY just did a piece about Facebook when to opt in or opt. No, they didn't even say that. To go for when will you receive a check from Facebook because of the lawsuit? Well, I'm telling people to research on Saturday. I'm gonna have another in-depth discussion about that, and we gonna bring out some facts. People, please opt out of that because guess what? You're not going to get nothing but pennies on the dollars in that settlement. But what's going to happen if you don't do anything, they're going to send you a little pennies on the dollar check because they got ruled against for millions of dollars, and they got to divide that up for millions of people. What's going to happen, once you accept that check, they're going to still have access to your data, and you won't be able to sue them if your data happen to fall in the wrong hands. So people opt out of that Facebook lawsuit if they send you information. You know, that's my advice for saying it.
Yes, call it. You have a minute and 30 seconds, and I'm counting. You're on.
Oh, yes. I want to talk about that AI situation.
Yes, go ahead.
With them putting people out of work behind that machine, what do they intend to do with the people? How they supposed to support themselves if all this things start to happen?
And when we say AI, to be clear, AI, the information, the technology will be used to run different aspects of industry, whether it's a computer being turned on, whether it's a database being stored, whether it's machinery, and whether it's the control of different devices, like such as what they call robot, quote unquote. That's the problem with it become independent thinking based on the programming, the input got into it, and that's where it becomes scary.
Okay, and we want to thank all of our fantastic callers that calls in and gives informative information. Some give passionate information, and some just call in. But we highly appreciate you. And in closing, I wanted to say something else. Well, since I can't remember which hospital it was that laid over 80,000 employees here in Lafayette. Which hospital was it? Recently? Yeah, recently. They laid over 75,000 workers. I'm not sure if it's
Louisiana, you mean?
In Lafayette.
Lafayette. They didn't have that many workers.
Yeah, at this hospital. I don't know. Yeah, they sure did. I don't know which hospital. I don't want to call either Lowe's out or Our Lady.
I know Ochsner is the biggest employer.
Well, I'm thinking it's Ochsner. Well, okay. If somebody knows, just go ahead and give us a call at 337-534-0036. But with that in mind, seemed like to me the top two numbers of jobs that's going to be paying a lot. They laid off a bunch of nurses and stuff like that. So where are these nurses going to find work at?
I don't know, sister.
Okay.
Right, traveling.
And Sister Ma, tell me something about it's Memorial Day that's coming up. Do people understand exactly what Memorial Day is and what it means for us?
Fried chicken, barbecue.
No.
Well, Memorial Day.
I'll pick up your mic a little bit closer.
Memorial Day was kind of a cover-up. There was a huge fight between the people in labor and the people who wanted things to remain the same. And my facts are not what they should be at 72 years old, but I do remember there was a slaughter, and they wanted to keep that day remembered, and so they came up with the idea of labor when it was really anti-labor. That event was anti-labor.
And
people
died, yes. And in today terminology, it's just like in Louisiana, they're refusing to give the minimum wage. They want to keep you working at $7.25 instead of bringing you up to the $10, to the $12, to the $15.
Yes, and it has come to be a major fight against any labor organizing from the top companies all the way down. They don't want you to organize and have any power. And so one of the main reasons they don't want you to have any power is that they can tell you exactly what to do. They can tell you how to dress. They can tell you what to do with your hair. And they can keep your wages so low. I don't dare call a system evil, but I will call a system that hurts individuals and elevates one or two families to where they get all the resources, one that needs to be challenged with as much power as we have. So Labor Day is a misnomer at best.
All right, and you heard it right here. Attorney Dwight, closing comments?
So as usual, if you need to get in contact with me, you can contact me at 337-534-4020. Once again, 337-534-4020.
And yes, indeed, and do not forget the to get in touch with ULL for honorable discharge veterans. We have a veteran upward bound program that's for all veterans and everything. And the telephone number is 337-482-5835. You can there's English, there's math, there's science, there's computer skills, and everything like that. And some people, they have a hard time getting on the computer and understanding what's going on with the computer. And that's one of the good reasons why you could go in with your own camaraderie, people that were in the military that understand military language, and that is available. You could sign up at any time, 337-482-5835. Brother Jay? I'm out. Okay, well, you could go ahead. We're going to finish up right about now and everything. So, Maad, when it comes down to you explain what part of Labor Day was. So when it comes down to Juneteenth, I know we have several things that's going on with Juneteenth. I don't see the commercial. What is your, how do you feel about Juneteenth?
I think Juneteenth should always be celebrated as an economic holiday. It is not a holiday for jumping up and rejoicing, and especially the way they have finally put it together. I mean, so many of us worked hard to get that holiday recognized. We had fish fries and barbecues and all those wonderful things as we were coming up. And I'm much older than y'all. I'm sorry you may not remember that. But that's how we carried on Juneteenth. And now to bring in a national, international flavor without the right information is almost a mockery. We love Juneteenth.
Corporate sponsored.
Yes,
well, yeah.
corporate sponsored.
Walmart sponsored.
Well, I mean, really, I went to Walmart and bought one of the first pieces of merchandise they had. I was like, oh, my God, look at us. But our grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, they stood and they, from what, can't see to can't see in the morning and at night, they stood. And even after, what was it, the
Emancipation Proclamation.
Even after that, there were people out there working. It's an economic holiday. Shut it down. Find a black bank, find some black stores and black products, and let's bring ourselves up.
Okay, all right. Well, this is it. It's just like Christopher Columbus or Christopher Colon discovered America when everybody else was over there before him. You know, they brought smallpox viruses to the indigenous American, killing millions of them. So let's just know what we celebrating before we celebrate. Thank you so much. You're getting ready to listen to Brother Herb with the hot reggae.